Hello, good morning, everyone. My name is Rahul Kulkarni. So thanks for joining. We'll wait for a couple of minutes for other attendees to join. Uh, then we'll start our webinar. Okay, so good morning, everyone. Uh, we have many people joined already, so we'll be starting our webinar for Kepware. First of all, thank you. Thanks a lot for joining this webinar, and I hope everyone is keeping safe at their homes. Uh, so first, as a just basics, the tool which we are using for this webinar is this GoToWebinar tool, via which you have already joined. So we'll be having this webinar continuously for 1.5 hours from 10:30 to 12 o'clock. So amongst that, for first half an hour, there will be presentation, which will be covering all the basics and some other details about the Kepware. Uh, then after that, we'll be having a demonstration for 30 to 40 minutes. 30 to 40 minutes. Then after that, we'll be having a question answer sessions. So this question answers, you can type in the questions in this GoToWebinar tool sections, which is on your toolbox. You can type in the questions, and we'll go to those questions one by one after the demonstration. So that's how the process will be. So I'll be starting a presentation. So let me introduce our team. So my name is Rahul Kulkarni. I looks after the pre-sales team at Sunlight Tech from Mumbai office. So along with me, I have Mr. Nilesh Jangle. He is also from my pre-sales team. So we both of us looks after the solution designing, so solution architecting, selecting a product for Kepware and other things also. So, and you must be aware that in our we have a different sales team located across India at different locations in Delhi, Bangalore. Probably most of you are already in touch with those. You are already using Kepware, and some of you are willing to use a Kepware as a new product. So we have pretty good sales team which will be helping out during the purchase of the product. Okay, so that's just an introduction. So now I'll be beginning the presentation, which will be for around 30 minutes. And then we'll be having a live demo of the tool itself. So this is the agenda for the presentation. We'll be covering some of the Kepware basics. Then we'll be seeing what is the possibility of using a Kepware as a whole, like what different connectivity solutions you can achieve with the Kepware. Then we are having what are the different products within a Kepware, because Kepware is a company which is a part of BT. They have multiple products. Like one of them is a KEPServerEx, then there's a Dig Master, Retenancy Master, Client S, and there is a new product called ThingWorx Kepware Edge. These are the different products are available within a Kepware. So most of you probably using only a few of them and not all of them. So that will be covering up. Then we'll be touching few points about the licensing part, how the licensing is carried out. And after that, we'll be covering up the KEPServerEx tool demonstration. So that's the agenda for the presentation. So first is the Kepware basics. So why Kepware? So industry has always a challenges, like there is always a data from different sources in the factory, like PLCs, HMI, DCS, RTU, all are from the different protocols. So there are multiple vendors involved in this equipments on the shop floor. So multiple data storage locations are, you might have multiple SCADA systems and everything, and all these are with a non-uniform data formats. So somebody use, for example, Siemens system is on different formats, then ABB system is on different formats and other things. So there is no uniformity in that. Then the difficulty to transfer data to IT networks. So now there is a OT, IT convergence concepts are coming up. Industrial IoT things are coming up. So transferring this data to IT is always become a challenge. So for this, all these industry data challenges, the solution is always a Kepware. So Kepware is basically a middleware for a data exchange between the OT and IT. So this is a simple definition you can call it. So it resides in between to sharing the data from multiple sources to a central location and provide it on a uniform form. Yes. So then what exactly the data sources or data consumers in this case? Here on this architecture it is shown, like on the left hand side you will see the data sources, and on the right hand side you will see the data consumers. And so this EX is a symbol of KEPServerEx. So it's a Kepware symbol. So wherever you will see it in the presentation, it's just a symbol of Kepware whenever it is written as EX. So we have multiple data sources in the plant. Those are from ABB, Mitsubishi, Siemens, Fanuc, ABB, and lot more. Okay, so there are Kepware supports more than 150 protocols spanning every industry. So it is not limited for any particular industry. So it will consist of many different protocols. So this becomes a data sources of the data. And on the right hand side, you will see the requirement to share this data. So this data will be shared to typically there are SCADA systems, or there are some IoT applications. There is a IoT applications and historians and other things. So this becomes a data consumers like HMI, NMS, historian, ERP, MES, SCADA, and other things. So left hand side you have data like data sources. Right hand side you have data consumers. So this gap is bridged by Kepware. Okay. So now the next point is the so now the what are the possibility with the Kepware solution? So so this is just one architecture which can be achieved with a single Kepware. So we'll be seeing. So you are seeing one single computer or maybe a server with a Kepware software installed. We can connect multiple PLCs as we already said, different sensors and other things connected to PLC. And why PLC you have specific drivers. This can be collected to a Kepware. Then the same information in simple format can be shared with any HMI or SCADA system over OPC. Here it is showing as a OPC DA. Then you can also share the same data with the OPC UA conceptually. Then we have more than 150 drivers for PLC, DCS, RTUs, which are again connected to your all the field level 0 devices like sensors and some mixers, pumps, and other things. Then there are some of the native driver for some of the panels. And you get, and this data can also be exchanged with the databases and historian. So you can put the data in some SQL database or any ODBC compliant databases. There are some of the specific drivers called as the UCON driver, which is like a user configurable driver. So there are some devices in the plant like weighing scale, RFID, barcode, which does not communicate on a standard protocol like Modbus or Profibus. Okay, so for that we can even write our own driver for it. Of course, it involves engineering efforts, but there is a provision given in the Kepware that you can build your own driver. And typically it is for serial devices where we don't have standard drivers. Then we can connect on a backnet driver for HVAC system. And there are some specialty drivers are there, like there is something called the EFM that will be covering up. Then there are some of the IT devices in the plant where you have some hub switches to be communicated on SNMP. You will have third-party OPC servers available, so those you need to bring it to at the center location. So overall, if you see that everything is gathered at a single place here, and you can achieve a redundancy for this. So this single server can be attended with a redundancy. This is like overall the capabilities of KEPServerEx, you can say, that you can achieve. For that, you can have some development environment like client S is a separate tool that we'll be discussing. So whatever we are seen till now, this on this architecture below this purple line, everything is an in-plant solution. So this server EX will be located within your plant. Okay. So all these devices can be connected to a single machine. Okay. Now this data can be shared outside your plant via firewall to any MES or ERP system. Outside plant or within plant, or but it can cross the firewall also with the secure data connections. It can also share the same data to enterprise database, or if there is a historian or any other databases at enterprise level from the plant. So there also we can share the data. We can share the data via the real-time data to some corporate headquarters where you have some dashboarding or other applications where you can share this data. You can connect a multiple such remote sites. Every site is having KEPServerEx. You can gather that data via firewall crossing, and we're getting at corporate headquarters. That can also be done. And add-on, you'll always get a connectivity to all the cloud platforms. So you can directly push the data from KEPServerEx to the cloud applications like Splunk or ThingWorx or any AWS or any MQTT REST based IoT platform like Azure or AWS or Google Cloud or anyone, whichever is supporting this protocol like REST and MQTT, you can always share the data. So this becomes the overall picture of KEPServerEx. What are the different possibilities to connect? You know? So next is a product portfolio. So whatever we are seeing is till now is just a capability of things, but what exactly the products which are involved? What is the product portfolio? So if you see on this slide, there are these many products are there from Kepware. Okay. So Kepware has a product called KEPServerEx, which is a primary product or which so it's a KEPServerEx which connects to drivers and everything. There are some add-on other softwares like redundancy master, client S, and link master. So these are the add-on to the KEPServerEx. So you can improve the more capabilities of KEPServerEx by some other means. So that will be covering up. So there are 3 additional softwares available. And there is a recently 4 or 5 months back there is a new software launch called as Kepware Edge. So name of the software is ThingWorx Kepware Edge. So this Kepware Edge is a software which is a Linux based software which can be installed on any edge device. And as you probably know, the edge devices can reside anywhere in the plant near to your data source. The data source could be a PLC or any machine or anything. You can just put that small edge device there, and you can just install the Kepware Edge on it. So no need to have your computers and other things. So and from that you can directly push the data to cloud or any other platform. So Kepware Edge is using the drivers which are available in KEPServerEx. Not all the drivers are as of now available in Kepware Edge, but many are available. But you can utilize this as a product. So overall, if you see, there are for this 5 products are there around Kepware, and probably if you are used, most of you are using the KEPServerEx, and typically nowadays everyone calls it as a Kepware. So, but Kepware has these many products inside. So The next is now we'll be checking more details about KEPServerEx, what exactly the KEPServerEx is. So KEPServerEx is basically on the so this diagram you will see multiple times in this during this presentation. So just the overview, on the bottom side you will have data sources. Data sources are like PLC, OPC servers, and other things uh, which are connected to your KEPServerEx. And then on the top side you will have different interfaces, HMI, SCADA, MES, historian, ERP, database, and other things. And on the right hand side you will see some of the advanced functions which you can do over this data. So whenever there is a data transfer from these drivers to interfaces, you can achieve some of the advanced functionality over this data. So that will be covering up. So this is the overview of KEPServerEx, how the KEPServerEx product works. Okay. As we said, the KEPServerEx offers a library of 150 plus device drivers. There are client drivers, there are some of the advanced plugins, and what are the advanced functions are called as advanced plugins. Okay, so which will be achieved there. Then this is just an overview and the list of drivers and suits available in KEPServerEx. This is not a complete list, but this is just a overview. So you'll have like ABB driver, Smart Bus, OPC connectivity, and there are lot many drivers available. So whenever you want to communicate, these are just some of the figures, like how many suits or how many OPC suits are implemented across the world. So you can always have whichever device you are having in the plant and you want to communicate it. And if you don't find the name of the driver in this list or anywhere, you can contact us anytime. So we can verify the compatibility of those devices and we can help you out in selecting the product. Next is the advanced plugins which are available. So apart from just a data collection and data sources, you have advanced plugins available. Like there is something called as advanced tags where you can do some mathematical functions over the data before passing. We have DataLogger, EFM export, and there are a lot many. Most important things are like there is something called as IoT Gateway, which will help you out to share your data with the cloud platforms, and there are other things. So this will be seeing one by one. So now there is something called as advanced tag. This thing feature will be also covering it in demonstration, which Nilesh will be covering up after this presentation. So you will be seeing how the advanced tag feature works and what are the capabilities of it, how you can link the tags, how you can manipulate the values and other things. There is a alarm and event feature is available. You can connect it to any alarm and event client at the top. There is something called as data logger. So data logger will help you to collect the data and push it to any databases like Oracle, MySQL, Microsoft Access via ODBC. So this is possible. So after that, we'll have EFM exporter. So EFM exporter is typically for oil and gas industries, where you will have this flow computers available on the site, and there is a specific data available from this flow meters. And this can be exported in the EFM file format. So that capability is also available within a Kepware. So you can connect to those flow computers or RTUs and export that data as a EFM file format to pass it on to the higher applications. Then we have direct connectivity for Splunk. Splunk is one of the IoT platform. If one of you are using the Splunk platform, you can directly utilize a connectivity solution from it. We have a general IoT gateway, we call it. So this IoT gateway is which will allow your data to be shared on MQTT, HTTP, REST protocols. So which are the standard protocols nowadays for every cloud platform. You can utilize this one to share data with your any IoT platform. There are some plugins called as scheduler. So you can schedule which data to pass on when, and you can put some timings over it. So these things can be scheduled. So it's just like a scheduler. Then there is something called as SNMP protocol is available, so which can be used for a network management system to collect the data from your switches and other things. So this was about the KEPServerEx. Now we'll be seeing the other products like Link Master, Client. So now what exactly the Link Master software do? So if you have a typical application, like you have multiple OPC servers within your plant, like some SCADA system having some OPC servers, and you just want to link those things. So one option is you can always use a KEPServerEx with some suits in connect these things. So that is possible. But if you have only and only the application of connecting to OPC servers, so you can put a link master software in between and you can just exchange the data between it. So that is possible. Other thing is you can do aggregation. So aggregation can be achieved if you have multiple OPC servers within plant and your application is just to connect this at one place. So you can use a link master. So that is possible. So you don't need to go with the KEPServerEx always. But of course, why KEPServerEx also this is possible, that you can buy OPC connectivity suite and you can achieve this configuration. Then there is something called as redundancy master. Only thing is with the redundancy master is the redundancy master supports OPC DA only. There is no OPC UA available, so there is always a decom settings and other things. Lot of things are involved. So if you have single maybe a PLC or something which is connected to KEPServerEx, and then you have some OPC client application on the top, and you want to achieve a redundancy for this one, what we can do is you can buy a two KEPServerEx softwares parallelly with the PLC or any devices at the bottom, and then you can have redundancy master at the top. Only question is, only thing is this communication will always be on a OPC DA, so it has to be on the same LAN network along with a lot of COM decom settings. So it, as of now, it does not support OPC UA communication, and yeah, so that is. Then we have another software called as Client S. So Client S is a software which is actually for the developers. So it is for IT developers to make a custom utilities. Like use Client S to connect your custom application to the server without writing code. So any IT engineers or software engineers no need to understand the code for OPC protocols and other things. So that will be available easily. So you can have any of your .NET application can communicate with the KEPServerEx and collect that data for any software utility development. So it is a development software to be used by IT people or the software team, so that they will be able to create their own utility for visualization or dashboard. So the next part is the ThingWorx Kepware Edge. So this product is launched recently, around 3 to 4 months back. So what it does, it as of now it can communicate with the Allen Bradley protocols, Siemens suite, and some Modbus devices. So it get communicated to Kepware Edge software, and it shares the data on ThingWorx or any MQTT or REST protocols. So as of now, it supports Linux platform. So the typically the KEPServerEx, which we are seeing just now before this, so it is a Windows-based application, so that cannot be installed on Linux. But Kepware Edge can be installed on a Linux platform. If you have any Linux computers, on that computers also it can be installed, but its typical use is for the edge devices. So these edge devices are the small edge devices which you can place multiple edge devices across your shop floor. You can put it up, and you can install this small software because the footprint is so small that it can be installed at very small size. Okay, as of now, as it's initial releases, so there are only 3 drivers available. One is Allen Bradley control logics. It can communicate. It can communicate with the Siemens TCP/IP protocol, and it can communicate with the Modbus TCP/IP protocol. And you can share this data to OPC UA, MQTT, and always on. Always on is for a ThingWorx connectivity. And there is a security and local buffer is also available. So this is a latest software which you can also try using it. So this number of drivers, even there are only 3 as of now, in coming versions it will keep on increasing. And so the main agenda is that after maybe a few months or years, so this will have more drivers, as not as equal to KEPServerEx. It will have multiple drivers which will help you to install multiple edge devices within your plant. So that can be a good architecture for avoiding the big servers or big networking cost within the plant. So that can be achieved with the ThingWorx Kepware Edge. Next point is related with the licensing part. So possibly you are knowing that the KEPServerEx is comes with the two type of licensing model. One is a perpetual licensing, and other is a perpetual. You pay a one-time licensing, and this is included with the mandatory 1 year support and maintenance agreement is always included in this 1 year cost. For 1 year agreement it is included, but it's a one-time product cost. Or you can also opt for subscription, pay annual fee for water drivers you are saying, and support is maintenance is always included. Apart from that, you will always get a 2 hours demo which is free. You can download the KEPServerEx software anytime, and you can use all the features available. You can explore it on your own for 2 hours, and after 2 hours you can just close it and reopen it again. It will again start. So there is no limitation on how many times you are opening and closing. So it just a 2 hours, it will stop after 2 hours. You need to restart the application only. But with this demo things, you can explore all the capabilities of KEPServerEx. There is no restriction. And after you get satisfied with your testing and everything, then you can proceed with the purchase. So that is a very good facilities given. So you can have hands-on implemented things at your place as some POC kind of thing with the demo licenses, and then you proceed for the purchase. So that is possible. Then additionally from our team in India, from Sarla Advantech, we have you'll always get a local support here. So we having a dedicated team for pre-sale support. So any product selection, what product to be selected, or during POC stage, what are the licensings are involved, what are the capabilities, what are the limitations, or anything that are there. So that we have a dedicated pre-sales team available. So which will be along with the sales, it will be supporting you. And then after sales, once you buy a product, if you face any issues or anything and you are under support and maintenance, we have dedicated after sales support team also. So that team is also available. So we have a very good team here in India located. We will always get a good support from for any of the Kepware products which we discussed just now. Yeah. So this is about the KEPServerEx. And now the next point is we'll be seeing the KEPServerEx tool demonstration. So Nilesh from my team will be presenting a demonstration of some of the drivers, some of the plugins, advanced plugins, and other things. So he will be covering it up. And after the maybe 30 to 40 minutes of this demonstration, then we'll be covering all your question answers. So I'm handing over to Nilesh. So Nilesh, you can start.
Yeah, thank you, Rahul. So I'll just share my screen. Okay. All right. So good morning, everybody. So I am Nilesh Jangle, and I'm working with Sarla Advantech from last 12 years, and currently I'm working in pre-sales team. So for this Kepware product demonstration, we'll go through these topics. So we'll first go through overview of Kepware configuration and administration overview. Then we'll go through some of the sample configuration. So as but we'll go through some of the sample configuration for typical use drivers like Allen Bradley controller Ethernet, then Siemens TCP/IP Ethernet, then Modbus TCP/IP Ethernet, and finally we'll go through some of the plugins which Rahul has mentioned in his presentations, like database logger, advanced tag, IoT gateway. So for IoT gateway, we'll be go through the configuration and demonstration of REST protocol. So we'll make Kepware as a REST server, and we'll use the Postman as a REST client. So we'll first start with configuration and administration overview. So I'll just so once you install Kepware, you'll find out icon called as Kepware configuration. So Kepware configuration is basically the UI which is provided for configuration. So if you see here on left hand side, you will get this system tree where you'll have like project. You can create your project, and this project file will be stored under extension called .opf. So currently I have this demo configuration available for this demonstration. So you can see here there are various connectivity options. So as mentioned by Rahul in his presentation, there are like 150 plus protocols. So I use some of the sample configuration for those protocols. So typically with Kepware configuration, you need to have channel. This is like channel. Channel is nothing but the port of your computer which is communicating with your target device. So then there will be like typically it will be Ethernet. In some cases it might be serial also, or serial to Ethernet converters are there. So then obviously you need to configure device which is your target device for which you are doing this configuration. So you will have this device, and then obviously under device you need to create tags. So these are all like tags with respect to PLC addresses and data types. So this is how you create a configuration in Kepware for respective drivers. And then obviously there are certain options available apart from this. These are all like connectivity option. Then plugins are there like advanced tag, alarm and events, then DataLogger, EFM exporter, IoT Gateway, scheduler, local historian. So all these plugin configurations are available in this system tree. And below and bottom side, you'll see this event logs. So all the like logs for a diagnostic purpose are provided with Kepware. You can always save this to text file and do certain diagnostic, or even you can send this logs to Kepware support if you are facing certain issues related to your like device communication. So for that, basically you can go to tools and event log. You can just save this to text file. So this is just a overview of the configuration. And obviously one major part here is like in menu bar you'll see this runtime. So Kepware works as a service. So you need to connect to that runtime engine to like start your communication and all the configuration you have done in the Kepware configuration. So this you can connect to runtime, and obviously there are options to disconnect as well as reinitialize. Reinitialize is nothing but like restarting your service, so or resetting your service. So these options are there. And obviously when you want to like verify your data, you can go through quick client. So once you click on this quick client, you'll be able to see like all the tags configured in Kepware and its respective values. So you can always verify your communication using this quick client. And this is a basically OPC DA client provided to like for Kepware. You can also like connect to any OPC DA server from this and test the DA communication. So this is a quick client is very helpful in case of like verifying the communication. And obviously apart from Kepware configuration, there are certain like other things like Kepware administration. Once you go to like taskbar, you'll find out Kepware administration, where most of the administrative related configurations are available, mainly like related to starting, stopping services, reinitializing, resetting your event logs, or even further go to the settings. So if you want to go to the setting to see the administrative configuration, you can just go to this. I will just enter my password, and so you can see here most of the like administrative settings, like mainly certificate related store. So this can be used for IoT interface, typically ThingWorx. Then ports which Kepware uses for certain functionalities. Then security policies which Kepware basically Kepware can be used to restrict certain users to certain interface, like certain users can browse to certain channels. So those kind of setting you can configure in security policies. Then there is a local historian related setting, like which port local historian uses. IoT gateway related settings. Runtime options are there. Runtime process, like whether you want to make this process as a high priority, how many CPU cores it has to be used. configuration related settings are there. And apart from that, obviously there are certain settings like user manager define or create new users. So there are various settings are there, and one thing like event log. So by default, this events log will be there for around 25,000 records. So you can always increase this using some of the persistence mode available with data store, extended data store, and you can have it up to 99 days. So those settings you can change it for this event logs. So these are some of the administrative related setting. Apart from that, in Kepware administration, you'll get basically UA configuration. If you want Kepware to act as an UA server, so configuration related to that will be can be done on this UA configuration. So we'll just open that. So these are like UA configuration setting. So it will ask you for like UA communication happens through URL, and obviously there are certain security policies which can be used along with UA server, like some of the authentication and encryptions, and so you need to define that. Then obviously once client connects to your Kepware OPC UA server, you need to trust those particular clients, then only they can basically communicate to your Kepware OPC UA server. And obviously if you want to do a certificate exchange in case of encryption, those can be we can import particular or export particular certificates from this instance certificate tab. So administrative related settings, then UA configuration, and obviously license related setting to activate the license available with license utility, and quick client is available. So this is like the typically used interface for Kepware configuration. One is Kepware configuration and another is Kepware administration. So now we will move towards next part, that is like sample configuration of certain drivers. So we'll go through some of the typically used protocols. So I'll again open Kepware configuration. So as I told you, we do not have PLC connected to this particular system, but we have already done certain configuration like sample configuration. So we'll go through that. So if you see here, for typically Rockwell PLCs, we have added one channel. So if you go to properties of that particular channel, you will see the driver selected is Allen Bradley ControlLogix Ethernet. So and obviously we need to select the adapter which is connecting to your target device. So we can select particular adapter of your computer system, and there are certain options like when there are non-normalized float values, what should be the criteria. So some of the configurations are there. And obviously apart from channel, if you go to device configuration, so in device configuration you need to put the IP address of the Rockwell PLC, and there is one constant number, that is unique number, comma 1, and then the CPU slot number. So with this, we'll be able to communicate with either ControlLogix or CompactLogix or even FlexLogix, those kind of PLCs which supports Ethernet protocol from Allen Bradley. So obviously you need to select also model in Kepware configuration, and there are various options available like scan mode. So once you configure all the like tags for your device, what should be the scan rate or scan mode. So typically we specify, right, respect client specified scan rate. So whenever any client connects to Kepware runtime, so whatever scan rate is specified that by that client, it will respect that client, respect that scan rate. And then you can have like request all data at specific scan rate like 1000. So there are various kind of options available for scan mode. Even there is option called as a demand poll. So do not scan. So when you want to poll this data from the Kepware, there will be one tag which will come from the or written from the client as a 1. Then only Kepware will provide that data to that particular client. So there will be one demand tag which will basically return to 1, so that you can poll that particular data from the Kepware. So typically people use like respect client specified scan rate, whatever scan rate, like if SCADA system is like acting as a client for Kepware, then we'll have like all the scan rate configuration at SCADA level itself. But there are various options to optimize your network load with scan mode, and there are certain typical communication timeout or timing related settings which should kept as a default unless you are facing certain issues with the communication. Then auto demotion is one of the like good feature along with like Kepware. So most of these features are similar for or available for most of the Kepware drivers, like auto demotion. So when there are like multiple PLCs connected to Kepware, and whenever there is a communication failure between one of the device configured in the Kepware, it will auto demote that particular device, so that there will be no request sent to that particular device from the Kepware, and it will basically enhances the performance, communication performance of other devices. Because if that device itself is like in power off or in fault situation, there is no need to poll to that particular device, and it will unnecessarily make load on other communication devices. So this is a good feature. Then obviously some of the drivers in Kepware supports automatic tag generation. So Rockwell or Siemens or certain Schneider PLCs like M340, they support auto generation. So you need to specify certain like configuration so that you can easily create your tags from the controller. So if you see here in Kepware case, you need to in Rockwell's case, you need to specify the programming L5K file, that is exported your exported file for your Rockwell programming software, RSLogix 5000. So if you specify this file, you can easily create or automatically create all the tags in the Kepware. Then obviously there are certain settings like redundancy. So Kepware supports media level redundancy. So if you have redundant PLC or redundant network, you can specify the secondary path for this particular channel, so that whenever there is a communication failure through that network path, it will switch over to secondary device. So redundancy is a major feature. But then obviously if you go then into the tags, so in typically in like the Rockwell case, there are two types of tags in the controller. One is global, those are like global variables, and other is like program tags. So I just generated certain tags like in global. These tags are there like typically like integer tag. So in case of Rockwell, the addressing is like it's a alias based addressing, so there is no such fixed syntax for that. So whatever tags are created in whatever name is created in program, you can specify those name. You can auto generate this kind of tags. So these are all auto generated tags. So in integer there are these tags, or for like other long data types or real, I have specified certain tags. So there is no as such syntax. Obviously for certain program tags, you can see here whatever program addresses are there configured at a Rockwell PLC end, those are configured here, but most of them are automatically created, so you don't need to worry about what syntax you need to specify. Obviously you can go to this address field and you can browse here, and you can see the typical syntaxes which are available with that particular driver. So those you can basically configure in this particular address field. So address field is one of the important field for like communication purpose. And so this is about like Rockwell configuration. So Rockwell PLC communication is very easy. You can just specify IP address of your device and auto generate the tags. And obviously similarly for Siemens, if you see here at channel level, obviously we need to specify the card, communication card, which is communicating to your PLC. And for at device level, there will be certain setting which are like different from the Rockwell or any other PLC. Like in this case, we need to only specify the IP address. There is no need to specify that CPU ID. That has to be specified at communication parameter level. And obviously scan mode, timings, or even auto demotion, now those settings are similar. And tag generation, are again like here also in case of automatic tag generation with Siemens PLC, you need to specify basically the project file in the this tag import field. So you need to specify here S7P file, and it's a specific program, so that those tags will be automatically generated in Siemens configuration. And major thing here is like communication parameters. You need to specify the port of which is configured at PLC level, as well as the basically CPU rack and slot. So that slot and rack setting has to be configured over here. Those should be matched with your hardware configuration done at Siemens programming software. So once you do this, you can easily auto import the tags, or if you know the address list, you can also like create these tags. Like typically for Word in like Siemens, we have this kind of syntax like db1 data block 1. Inside that there is a dbw word DB block will be there, or instance will be there. So you can get basically this kind of syntaxes help, and you can specify those kind of addresses. So string there are this kind of addresses, or for boolean tags M128.5, or even from particular data block you can specify particular bit. So these are all like standard syntaxes available for Siemens PLCs. You can always export this to CSV and do basically all the configuration at CSV level, and import back to Kepware. If you have like readily available address list, you can easily do that at CSV level and import back to Kepware to reduce your development time. So obviously these are some of the typically configured tags. And obviously for Modbus, you need to specify again similar thing like particular card, network adapter. Then what are the like device level settings will be there. So for device level setting, obviously you need to specify the IP address and the ID. So most of the like Modbus devices, this have one ID as well as IP address. So you need to specify that. And for automatic tag generation, you need to specify this import file, which is typically available for Schneider PLCs. And or in case most of the Modbus devices manufacturer, they provide this address list. You can easily get that address list and export this configuration to CSV and do the changes and import back to this Kepware. So typically settings available with certain Modbus devices, those needs to be matched over here, like first word low or first debug word low. So those kind, or Modbus byte order. So those kind of or certain function codes which are supported by certain devices. So those needs to be matched to get to communicate with the Modbus devices. And obviously this redundancy option is available with Kepware Modbus driver. So you can specify network level or CPU level redundancy. So typically in Modbus addressing for analog tags will start from 40128. And for particular string, you can specify here particular tag address with this kind of syntax. And obviously for Boolean, it starts with writable tags, it starts with 00097. And for like in digital input, it starts with 1. So this all address list you can get it from particular device manufacturer who is providing Modbus data. So this is how you can configure like typically this drivers. So mainly main important thing is like address syntax. Most of the things are like related to like a channel or device will be available with your device communication parameters. But addressing list you need to specify properly. You can always go through the help also, and you can verify this syntax to get proper data in Kepware. So these are some of the like sample configurations available for Modbus, Siemens, and Allen Bradley. Similarly, you can do this configuration for more than 150 plus protocols. Obviously, for each driver, there will be various kind of addressing syntax. You will get that from this help. For each driver, there will be help provided. So you can always refer to this, or you can always call our tech support team for any further help. And obviously, in this channel configuration, I have configured certain like simulator tags for a demo purpose. So if you see here, if you see your device properties, so I selected driver as a simulator driver. So this is a simulator driver for simulation purpose. There is another driver called as a memory-based driver, which can have persistent data even if you like your PC got shut down, or if you restart the service, still values will be stored in that driver. So this can be also used with certain SCADA system for some simulation or maybe some logic development purpose. So simulator driver is mainly used for like testing or demo purpose, but you can use memory-based driver available with Kepware for some logic development. So these are like some of the typical syntaxes. Like for K stands for like constant values, R stands for ramp values, or there are certain functions available like from this particular value to this particular value, random tags, B stand for boolean. So these are some simulator tags, and these are all related to like plugins available, which we'll go through. So I think we have we can move towards now Kepware plugins. So we have configuration, Kepware configuration, administration overview, then some of the sample configuration for Kepware drivers, and we'll see now plugins. So first plugin we'll see that database logger. So this is a database logger is a most widely used plugin from the Kepware EX, KEPServerEx. So if you see here in database logger, I have configured certain log groups. So you can configure multiple log groups. There is no license limit for creating log groups, but typically with DataLogger, most of the performance related things will be depend on your database which you are going to use. So ultimately, Kepware is going to log or provide the queries to insert data to your database, but the performance of data logging will be always depend on the database and the your like your hardware configuration or your network configuration used for that data logging. So typically for this example, I use SQL Server 2014, and like if you see here log group 1, in log group 1 I specified you need to specify DSN. So you need to create a system DSN. Typically we recommend to create system DSN. So DSN is nothing but data source name, so which is a typical configuration available in control panel. So if you go here in control panel in administrative tools, you can basically define this DSNs. So I'll just go to administrative tools and this database sources. So these are all DSNs. So these are nothing but like the data source which basically configure with specific drivers of database. So and like typically for this particular test or demo, we have prepared like this kind of DSN, which will specify your server database server name and username password. So we are going to log this data to SQL Express Edition 2014. So I have created this training DSN, and so once you create a DSN, you have to go to Kepware and you need to specify that particular DSN in Kepware DataLogger configuration. Put its username and password here, and then you need to create basically a table. So there are two kind of options or methods available, format available with the Kepware data logger. One is narrow, which will log data to the database table in certain format, and another is wide. So we'll go through those formats. So if you see this narrow format, so I'll just make this, close this, and then I'll go to basically, once you do this configuration, you need to basically add the tags. which you are going to log to Kepware data logger. So those tags will be automatically, basically you will be able to browse these tags from this Kepware configuration. Once you add these tags, you can basically do the column mapping, which is basically the column names which are going to be used in Kepware SQL database. So you need to do this mapping. As it is a narrow format, the mapping will be like common for all the tags. In case of wide, it has to be mapped to each and every tag. And then obviously trigger. So you need to have a trigger condition, this data will be logged. So typically there are trigger types. You can have always trigger, you can have condition based or time based logging. So for this example, I use always trigger, and in this always trigger there are certain options like intervals, as well as you can specify on change also. Whenever there is a change in the log group, it will log the data. So for this example, I have specified 1 minute. Now if you go to this particular database, I already started this data basic log group, and obviously there are certain other log groups also which are created with wide setting, like wide format and other like similar kind of setting. So if you see here in SQL, so this is typically your like narrow format. So if you see this, so I am able to log the data in SQL with narrow format, and so this is typically narrow format, where you can see here a name, and all the tag names will be under one column, and timestamp for respective tag names. So this is narrow format, and you'll always get certain values of that particular tag with numeric ID and quality. So 2 stands for good quality data, and 0 will be like bad quality data. Similarly, you can log data in wide format also. So in case of wide format, you'll get basically all the tags in a like one row itself. So respective tag value will be in multiple rows, and it is like transpose of the data. And you can have like timestamp, quality, and all to respective tag. So this is how you can basically log the data. You can always log basically your there will be one ID which will be logged with each data entry, and obviously numeric ID can be also logged, like we have seen in this. So which will be basically unique for each tag. So like tag 2, I have created one numeric ID called 2. So this is how you can log data to SQL. And obviously you can also log data on change also. So whenever there is a change in the value, it will log the entry. So this particular scenario, it is logging with specific interval, 1 minute interval. And for this particular scenario, I am logging data on data change. So if you see here my configuration, so for this you can see here for trigger condition. So this is always trigger, and this is for 1 minute, and this will be for this trigger condition. This will be basically, there will be condition called as a log on data change. So whenever there is a change in the value of that particular tag, then only it will log the data. So this is for data logger. Obviously, if you need any help or any support, you can always contact us to go in depth in data logger group. Then we'll move towards advanced tag. So typically in case of advanced tag, if you see, there are various products in Kepware portfolio, like link master or even redundancy master. So some of the functions of those products also can be done at this advanced tag. So to create advanced tag, you get various options. So typically with advanced tag, you get various tags types. One is average tag, which averages particular value. There is complex tag, which basically mostly used by Oracle MOC connections, where you can basically concat multiple tags so that all the data will go in one string itself. Derive text, where you can write certain formulas, and you can basically get some calculated value. Minimum or maximum, those are similar to functionalities, like where it will give you maximum value of that particular tag or minimum value of that particular tag. Then link tag is like similar to your link master, so it will link one tag to another, so that you can write one tag value from one PLC or one channel to another PLC. So that is possible with link tag. And Oracle cumulative tag is available, which is mainly used by Oracle MOCs, but it can be used by other clients also. It will basically give you the always give you the difference between your current value and the previous value. So it will always give that delta value. So if you see here in this example, I have for average tag, average maximum minimum, I have specified this tag, particular RAM tag. So I have created one RAM tag in Kepware configuration, and there is one trigger tag. So when trigger tag value becomes non-zero, it will start calculating the average for this particular ramp on the sampling rate of 1000 or 1 second, 1000 millisecond. So this is for average. Similarly, for maximum minimum, I have specified this trigger tag. So if you see here, for ramp tag, I am basically creating max and minimum this conditions. So if you see, if you go to this quick client, which is right now open, you can see here, this is the ramp tag, which is currently having some ramp value. And if you like, if I'll change this trigger tag to non-zero value, you'll get certain values in this average, maximum, and minimum tags. So I'll just make it to 1. So I'll write it 1, so that it will start counting or start calculating the average and maximum value. So I made it to 1, and you can see here this value is like changing from 0 to 100, and I'll just change it to again to the 0. So during this span, you'll be able to see during this span, the maximum value was 100, minimum value was 0, and the average value was 36. So this is how it will calculate your basically this respective functions. And obviously, this particular RAM tags, after going to 100, it is coming back to 0. That is why this average value is 36. But in practical scenario, you'll get basically exact average value. And obviously, there are certain features which are available with Kepware, like derived tag, which is like calculation. So typically, there are certain examples which are configured over here. If you want to calculate power factor, so if you have two tags called as active power and total power, so your formula will be like active power divided by total power into 100. So this will calculate your power factor. So similarly, you can calculate the power if you have voltage tag and offset. So square of voltage minus voltage offset divided by resistance. So if you go here to like this quick client, you can see here my active power is 812, total power is 1160, and you will get this 70 as a power factor, which will be like division of your active power divided by total power into 100. Similarly, you will get this kind of power for your like whatever formula you written in the derived text. So this kind of derived tags you can configure. Again, a link tag. So for link tag, obviously for this demo, I have created this simulation tag, and I'm writing this to one S7400 tag. So obviously this PLC is right now not communicating. So what I have done is like I have made this particular device, which is this Siemens device. I made it to simulated mode. You can always enable this mode so that you will get simulated. You can write values so that the particular device will go in simulation mode. So for you can see here, I am writing the value of tag 1, which is a RAM tag, to this particular Siemens tag. So whatever value is there for this tag 1, it is getting returned to this particular word value of the Siemens PLC. This way you can use this link tag to write from one particular PLC to another PLC. You can always, apart from writing, you can always create conditions so that when this particular tag will be written, like currently I have a trigger type is always, but you can have like on particular data change or depending on particular condition, when particular tag goes beyond this value or becomes or equals to this value, you can write this particular input tag to this output tag. So this is very useful link tag. So typically people use this link tag or minimum, maximum or average kind of functionality, or even derived also. So that this derived tag supports various mathematical arithmetic operators, even some of the logical operators. And so those are those kind of operators can be used in this expression. So this is about advanced tag. And finally, I think we can move towards the final topic, that is IoT Gateway. So we'll go through the IoT Gateway agent with REST protocol. So for this demonstration, I have created one IoT Gateway agent. So if you see here in IoT Gateway plugin, you have option to create agent. So you can create agent with specific type like REST client, REST server, and MQTT client. So typically, most of the IoT gateways or IoT platforms support these protocols. So for this example, what I have done is like I have created one agent with a REST server. So in this case, Kepware will act as a REST server, and then REST client can poll to this REST server to get certain data from the Kepware. So for this, I have created REST server. You need to specify certain like configuration here, like which network adapter you are going to use, port number, some origins, CURS allowed origins, so that those origins can be are allowed with HTTP client. So typically we provide star so that any origin can be supported. If you want to use HTTPS for like security encryption with certificate exchange, you can use that HTTPS. Then if you want like client can write data to your Kepware server or Kepware REST server, then you can enable this particular setting. And if you want to like allow anonymous login, you can specify this to yes. In my case, I have specified it to no, so that you need to put your username password in REST client also to like communicate with the Kepware REST server. So this is a default URL which you'll get along with Kepware REST server. So if I click on this, obviously this once you click on this, it will open this page where there are like certain help given related to Kepware functionality, REST server functionality. So there are typically some URL or example given to like how to browse, how to read data from Kepware REST server, how to write data to Kepware REST server. So this is the URL and this is the syntax. So you'll always get the data in JSON format once you like read write to the Kepware REST server. So this page will help you to configure at REST client level. And obviously this IoT agent or on license depends on the tag. So number of tags, the licensing is on number of tags. So how many tags you will specify or configure in IoT agent, those will be basically need to be purchased. So currently it is in demo mode, so it is showing not license. So we'll go to now. So this is the REST agent or REST server we have configured in Kepware IoT Gateway. Now we'll go to the Postman. So Postman is a typically REST client application for testing purpose. So in this Postman, you can see here I just copied that particular URL example to read the data from the Kepware. So we will read Kepware data for this tag 1 and tag 2 from the Kepware REST server. So obviously for that, in authorization field, I have specified the username password, And so I specified this username password of my Kepware security plugin, and then in read section, I'm going to use this get method, and with this particular URL, I'm going to read these tags. So if you see tag 1 and tag 2 values, currently those values are tag 1 value is 4367 and tag 2 value is 0. So obviously this tag 1 value is getting ramped. So we'll read this value. So if you read send this command, we should be able to read this. So you can see here value is 4379 and this value is 0. And this is in JSON format. You will get this timestamp in Unix format. You can convert it to specific date and timestamp, and you can use this in your REST client or in your web-based application. You can develop your like web page or HTML page, and you can use this kind of values. Similarly, you can also write to this particular tags, like we will write 80 to tag 2, and we'll write 100 to our tag 4. So currently, if you go to this, you can see that 0 and 0 values are 0 in tag 2 and tag 4, and the syntax for writing is this, and you need to specify ID, that is tag name, and value in this body field. So I'll write to this particular tags using REST. So if you see here, once I write to it, the status is okay, and I can go to now quick client to check whether these values are written or not. So you can see here like 80 and 100 is written to this particular Kepware tag. So similarly, you can use this REST. You can use MQTT also. So MQTT agent can be like MQTT agent can be used. So MQTT like REST server act as a REST server and client. So we have seen REST server which will act from which REST client can pull data to Kepware. And if you use like agent with a REST client, then you need to program your software as a REST server, so that Kepware will always push the data to that particular REST server. So in case of REST client, you can specify here whether you want to push data to that particular REST server on only data change. So default is data change, or you can specify at particular interval also. So whenever there is a data change, it will push data to your REST server, or whenever there is a change, or you can specify every scan. So on specific interval, it will push data. So like typically when you want to communicate with IoT platforms like Amazon, AWS, or even Microsoft Azure, you can use this MQTT client, because this AWS or Azure, they support MQTT broker. So in case of MQTT communication, communication happens through like basis of publisher and subscriber, and in between there will be broker. So broker is the main functionality available in MQTT communication, which will decide the MQTT client's data, which data has to be provided to which particular MQTT client. On if it is like publisher, it will like read data from that particular MQTT client, and some subscriber MQTT clients are there, and then it will basically provide that data to those particular MQTT clients. So in MQTT client, you need to specify a certain format by which your data will be provided to MQTT broker, and obviously you need to specify security username password. Then you need to specify the MQTT broker URL, which will be, this is a typical URL for AWS. And there are certain settings available, like format, whether you want to push data on like narrow format, means on change, or you want to push data on specific interval. So those kind of formats available. And obviously one feature which is available with MQTT client is like last will. So whenever there is a disconnection between your broker and MQTT client, it will give this particular message to that MQTT broker, so that other client can understand that this particular client communication is broken. So there are certain features available with MQTT clients. So this is how you can use IoT agents. So typically it is licensed on number of tags, DataLogger, there is no such limitation on number of tags or number of DataLogger group. But as I told you, you have to basically check your database as well as your network or your computer specification, so that performance will depend on that. Then advanced tag, obviously there is no limitation on number of tags. You can have each of the data type or tag type can be used with this advanced tag. So I think we have covered most of our topics or all our topics. So Rahul, I think we can go for this questions and answer session.
Yes. Thank you, Nilesh. So we have seen a demonstration of some of the drivers and the plugins on actual tool. So I hope the things are much clearer than the presentation also. So we have received a couple of questions already. So you can type in your questions now also. So we can go one by one. There are already some of the questions like does Kepware have any plan of communicating with the robots? So as of now, the robots side, there is no direct communication or protocol available. But typically the robotic systems comes with the some OPC connectivity or something. Then of course you can utilize that functionality like via OPC or some Modbus protocol that we can still communicate. But as of now, there is no direct driver available for any of the robot. But if you can share, if you have any particular robot system to be communicated and you want to check it, you can just give us more details and we can verify those things, whether how best way we can utilize Kepware to communicate. Then there was one question regarding the auto demotion. So how it is restored? Maybe you can give more details about auto demotion again. Just.
Yeah, so typically this auto demotion feature is mainly used if you have like multiple PLCs. Suppose you have 50 PLCs connected to Kepware, and those are from different makes and different vendors. And your network is now communicating, or your Kepware is communicating with those particular PLCs on maybe channel level. So whenever there is a communication breakage, or typically if you have like Modbus communication, Modbus TCP/IP communication, and you have under one channel you have like 4 devices. Now, whenever there is a communication breakage, or mainly like that particular PLC is down or is in fault condition, so unnecessarily Kepware will pull that particular device, and then it will try to go to another devices in serial communication or parallel serial mechanism. So to avoid that, you can auto demote. You can specify that whenever there is no reply from this particular PLC for this particular interval, you'll auto demote that. So that Kepware will not poll that, so that other devices communication will be healthy, as well as it will perform better. And then obviously once that communication resumed with that device, it will start again communicating with that particular device. So it is more or less for your communication optimization or communication performance optimization.
Yeah, correct. So then there are many questions. So I will just combining those questions. Like most of you has asked regarding the tag limitations and other things, like how many channels and how many tags we have configured. We can configure in Kepware. So typically there is an in help section of Kepware for every driver. The exact count of number of channels and other things are given. But theoretically, there is no limitation. You can configure as many tags as you want. So tag side, absolutely no limitation. You can configure the unlimited number of tags. Number of channels and number of devices are specified for every driver, but those are also huge amount is there. But when you do this configuration, the most important part is your performance, where the Kepware is installed, how the network capacity is, and how your device is able to handle it. So that will mainly depend on the performance side only. So from Kepware side, tag limitation, there is no theoretical limitation on Kepware side. So that was for the drivers. And for the IoT applications, if you are talking about the any tag limitations or things, so there also there is no tag limitations. Only thing is licensing is on tag basis for IoT gateway. Like there are some slots like 100 to 500, 500 to 5000, and 5000 and above. So there are 3 slots for the IoT gateway to achieve it. So overall, in any of the drivers, in any of the plugins, there is no tag limitations. Only the devices or number of channels are specified, and those are also in huge number, like 1000 channels or something, but those are the driver specific. And anyway, on your one single network card with the network limitations and other things, you can have those things also. So from Kepware side, there is no limitation. So I have combined many of you, around 6-7 people have 4-5 people have asked you the same question, how much is the limitation for the tags. Okay. Then the next question was, can the tags be imported directly from PLC? Yes, of course, but it depends on a PLC also. So it is specified, as Nilesh during his presentation mentioned, like Siemens, Allen Bradley, they allowed the auto tag browsing feature. Even in OPC suite also you can do it. So most of the places it is available, but it mainly depends on which type of PLC it is, and it is mentioned in the documents whether auto tag browsing is available or not. Okay.
Yes.
And there is a, yeah. Then there is a question related with the data logger, how much rate we can achieve. So see, the data logger performance, as Nilesh has said, is typically completely depends on your database only. So Kepware is just providing you the media to insert the data in your database. Okay. So there is no performance or anything depend on the Kepware. So Kepware is just whatever data is available with the Kepware, it just send a command to insert. But whether to log that data and what rate to handle that data will completely depend on your database only, whether it's a SQL or Oracle or whichever database it is. So if your database able to handle the 5-second interval of maybe 10,000 tags, then of course it is possible. If it is giving better performance, still it is fine. So whatever the data you are trying to push from the Kepware, so Kepware side there is no limitation for the data logging. And one particular question was again like, can we have 10,000 tags in Kepware OPC server and data logger in a higher end server also? So of course you should be able to say, as I said, there is no limitation on number of tags. Of course you can configure a number of tags and other things. And with the data logger, you need to verify the performance. As I said, it depends on the type of database which you are using, whether it's a SQL standard version or and whether it is where it is located, whether it's in a same computer or whether it's on a network. So all these performance, bandwidth, and things also will come in picture when you are trying to achieve a higher storage rates. Yeah. So that was one question. Then there was one question. Maybe I will just read out the whole exact question. How to restore the database? Is the install default when I install Kepware itself, or where to find a DB and store it? So I think this question is related with the how to restore the whole configuration of Kepware. That's what I can understand. So you can always take a backup of Kepware configuration files, and you can restore it anytime. So all the configuration, including your database configurations, everything should be there available. Then there is another question like, can we send data to Siemens PLC from Rockwell PLC or vice versa via Kepware? Yes, you can link multiple PLCs and exchange the data between that. For that, you can use an advanced tag plugin where you have to collect the data, create a new tag, and then write it to another PLC. So you can link multiple devices. So that is possible. Yeah. So these were some of the questions, and there were some questions related with the Postman. So Postman, I think it's a freeware only, so you can use it for testing. So yeah, and MQTT and this thing Nilesh has explained already, whether it's how the MQTT is there. So there is a broker is always required in MQTT case. Then there is a question: is it possible to communicate with Raspberry Pi or Arduino? I'm not sure, but as far as we know, Raspberry Pi or Arduino, these are the devices and where you can implement the protocols. So these are just hardware devices where you can small hardware devices where you can write some program. So if if those devices are capable of communicating with any protocol, of course we can do it. And if this question is related whether we can install the Kepware on this Arduino and Raspberry Pi, KEPServerEx cannot be installed as it needs a Windows operating system. But Kepware Edge, what I shown in during my presentation, the Kepware Edge can be tried to be installed with sufficient resources available. So that can be done, but that need to be tested. Okay. Then there is another question: what is a minimum sampling rate that can be achieved? So in the configuration of Kepware, 10 millisecond can be configured, but again it depends on the performance of the systems.
I think those can be even tested with demo mode also, like what exactly
Yes.
performance you are getting from your respective hardware.
Exactly. As said, the Kepware is just a background software, so there is no dashboarding or anything is available within a Kepware portfolio. So whenever you want to develop it, you need to develop it in separate utility like .NET or something. You can develop a dashboard for visualization. Okay, so that is the thing. Okay, so I think those are the major questions. So some of the questions I already combined and got answered during the this thing during the demonstration. Maybe I will just verify it if I missed any of the question. No, I think they are good. So thanks a lot for all your questions and things. I think, yeah, sorry, we got another question. So what is the minimum data polling rate at the Kepware edge in order to connect vibration and temperature sensors? Yes. So as a configuration, you can of course go with the 10 millisecond configuration, but it depends on how much data you want to push. Because typically in edge configuration, even for example, here you are mentioning like vibration and temperature sensor data. So this you can connect to on standard protocol to Kepware edge device and then pass it on to the higher application. So either you share all the variables, or because here there will be very less number of variables, so achieving the lesser rates are also possible. Data polling rates are possible to achieve. Okay, so this can be done with the edge software. Yeah, so these are the questions which we received. Okay, thanks a lot. And first of all, I would like to apologize for some of the people I think could not join the webinar because of some constraints. So we have acknowledged it, and we'll be anyway sharing the complete recording of this session with all of you, and even the people who registered but could not join. So we'll be sharing it. And even apart from that, if you still have any doubt, we can arrange another webinar also if some of you would like to rejoin or have more specific questions and other things. And after this webinar, we'll be sharing with you all the contact details, like my contact Nilesh and all our team, our sales team. Everyone, you will be getting a proper email with the links to download and other things. So you can reply back to those emails also. We'll surely revert you back with all your questions. And still, if I missed any of the question, then those questions also will be get replied there. Okay, so those are some of the things which we'll be doing it. So I say thank you very much once again for your time, and stay safe. Yeah, sure. Thanks a lot.